The Oregon Trail and Territory by Shelby, Joe, Kaitie, and Ryan. Can you imagine a chance to have a great new life and to start all over again? For thousands of people moving west, this dream had become a reality. The feeling of starting all over and the great sense of exploration and adventure presented itself in the newfound territory called Oregon. Recently found by Lewis and Clark, this land was very mountainous with miles of untouched forest, fertile soil, a settler's paradise. But by 1843, thousands of men, women, and children packed up their things and headed for the great new dream that eventually became their home. In the historic journey, Meriwether Lewis and William Clark crossed the Rockies and made it to the Pacific Ocean around 1805. They crossed the territory we now call Oregon. In 1819, Russia, Spain, Great Britain, and the U.S. all had a claim on Oregon. The first to pull its claim on Oregon was Spain. Then Russia ceded its claim to the 54th parallel. With just Britain and the U.S. holding claim, they decided to have a peaceful joint occupation of Oregon. But in 1844, James K. Polk in his presidential campaign said 54-40 or fight, addressing the problem of sharing Oregon with Britain, saying that if Britain wouldn't give up its claim to Oregon, they would go to war. But after being elected, Polk didn't go to war with Britain over the matter. He settled on the 49th parallel instead. Getting to Oregon wasn't as easy as it first seemed, though. An ordinary person from the large cities on the East Coast weren't cut out for the rough and rugged path that Lewis and Clark found. Only a few men were able to live in Oregon at the time. These men were called mountain men. They traveled through these vast expanses of land, hunting and trapping animals for their furs. An annual rendezvous was where they would trade their furs, get supplies, and take a much-needed break from the hard work. One of these men was named Jedediah Smith. He was a hunter and trapper for years and was said to have once survived a bear attack with no weapons to protect himself. His greatest achievement, however, was when he located the South Pass in 1824. This route through the Rockies was far easier than the previously traveled path, making it possible for ordinary travelers to make their way to Oregon. By 1843, thousands of settlers were heading west every year. The first to head west were the missionaries, who in turn related back that Oregon was a pioneer paradise. Disease was unknown, and it was said that pigs ran around fully cooked with forks and knives stuck in them, ready to be eaten. But on the trail to get there was another story. There they were faced with many dangers that included bad weather, rabid animals, Indian attacks, and injuries from drowning, shootings, and being crushed by wagon wheels. After the missionaries, settlers came by the thousands. Most people of the time strongly believed in manifest destiny. They believed that as Americans we had a right to expand west, and settlers going to Oregon were no exception. So with the help of Lewis Clark and Jedediah Smith, we got the Oregon Territory and the Oregon Trail, and our country made a huge jump westward.